there's a lot that has been taking place that impacts the African continent. This month, in the past weeks. So when there is this fire that burnt down Notre Dame Cathedral in France, and we have a lot of sympathy coming even from poor Africa, with the heads of state contributing millions of dollars to rebuild it while their people are starving and without basic amenities. And with even worse disasters that have been ignored by the world. But we find a reptilian church building that has been given so much compassion. In fact, it's a paradox. So the new presentation has really opened my eyes, to many things. Really, even if I'm not aware of the inner world of the real side, I'm aware of what is happening now. I can find my way in this world because of the new presentation. Now, if you look at the frescoes in this Cathedral de Notre Dame, and look at the sculptures, the artwork there, you will find that this cathedral is a reptilian bastion. You see reptilian figures there, the archdevils Baphomet with his horns, men copulating with animals, women having sex with animals and reptilian creatures. So you see, this is what the world is in sadness. I don't know. They are sad over the roasting of this building. And over $1 billion have already been donated for its restoration. Duane, to me, this is a symbol of the depravity and death of religion, and even the God idea. So, what do you say about this upheaval, Duane?
Well, again, I see it as just another marketing ploy by by the cabal here that rules the planet, and you see the end result. So they create a cause. It's very simple, and they get a reaction, which is emotional, this or that. People don't really look and see what they're reacting to. It's the idea. Okay, so again, they've built this building, and the images and everything it's about is right in front of people. Again, and they're not really opening their eyes like anything in the world and the governments, etc. So they're buying the idea, and this is just how people are subconsciously controlled. I see this, and so there's a bigger picture going on that we're implementing. And in the middle of this galaxy, as an example, is the dark holes, and they're huge, and it's very black, and it's even solidified. And the thing is that people are controlled unconsciously. They don't really understand what they're reacting to, so they're almost expected to react. This is what these people that started this fire and whatever, I see it as purposely done. I mean, all of a sudden, it just like the houses here in California that were lasered, everybody's surprised and shocked. Well, getting to the real matter, again, we're here, the world's becoming little by little more aware, and so they create all these diversions, and they'll use something like that really gets people going, etc. And it's really not about the money, because the money's created out of nothing. The money is, people think, oh my gosh, look at all the money, or we should donate money, or whatever. See, again, they're chasing ideas and not seeing the reality of what's taken place. And yeah, when you just look at the temple, people can think, oh gee, or this cathedral, oh, it's a work of art, this is that, or whatever. No, it's not. These are all, the whole thing is subliminal, and everything in it is subliminal. Subliminal control. It's all about control. The birds don't build cathedrals, okay, or temples or any of this nonsense, etc. And so, yeah, it's just a 100% marketing ploy by those people that control the earth to get people to react, to keep them here unaware as slaves. It's just that simple.
Thank you, Duane, for throwing that light. And in fact, I want to add that anyone who was following what you're presenting, the new presentation, will really be alive to what is happening in this world. In fact, even from observing this building, a friend sent me the pictures of this building. What was left of it? People took photos. They are scandalous. It really concretized what you are saying. And if you are not in the new presentation, you will just look at them as some kind of carvings or something that you cannot place your finger on what is really happening. But it is because I'm in the new presentation and you have been talking about these things that I was just at a glance able to decipher what this cathedral stands for. Yes, you've added subliminal control and all. Yes, and in fact, it's just dedicated to the reptilian gods. It's their seat of power on earth. So I really appreciate the fact that I joined the new presentation, which has opened my eyes and the eyes of every other person who is actually following what you're saying. Even from a building, from the artifices you find around, you can be able to connect with what you are saying. What you are presenting is very true, very live, alive in front of us. But how many people will see it? If you not come to the new presentation, would you be able to decipher anything? Nothing. Nobody. People out there, they don't know a thing about what is happening. They just know that it's a building or an impressive building that has been there for centuries. It's an iconic building, and how can it be lost like that? But look at the murals there, look at the frescoes, look at the carvings and everything. It tells a different story altogether. So I really want to be grateful for the fact that I'm in the new presentation. Okay, Duane, there's often talk of let me bring a religious image here, the transfiguration of Christ and other spiritual personalities in their religious or spiritual literature. So how does this differ from being a free being of radiant light, pure radiant light?
Well, again, that's very simple too, and that is that yes, we've come up with all these stories, and they're very good stories. They're very well written because of the people that have been here and educated themselves according to the indoctrination they got when they were young, and they developed themselves into a particular person that helped share these old stories and expand upon them, make them sound good, make them into movies, etc. Before I get along here too much, I was going to, like on the cathedral there, there's a movie with Gerard Butler, and it's called Olympus Has Fallen, and it shows exactly what they're doing with this whole idea here. In other words, in that movie, the basic idea is the White House is attacked. It's kind of blown. Certain parts are blown up, etc. It's taken over, and then it's rescued, etc. So again, this gets people going to where it reinforces them with the control, authority, government idea. It's like, oh, we saved the White House, and so yes, your question with these ideas that we've come to know. Again, they cover all the bases. They cover everything that people can possibly think of or imagine with their lives. And the stories are the biggest thing, and that is that, oh, this is tradition, this is history, this is the ancient secrets, all these things, how they label them. Oh, it's the Bible, these are the holy works, etc. And yeah, it's a marketing buildup, just like anybody that's a movie star. They help create entertainment, just like Disney and whatever. These were all Masons. These were all cabal. They created all this for people. And today it's not about the business so much. It's the marketing and the control, because they can create the business. They can create the so-called money or monetary system out of nothing. That's easy. It's getting people to agree. And so these old stories, they're cute. They get you emotionally attached. And so what many people do is they go over to the so-called love idea. And yeah, that's fine, except that it's basically just emotional sensations. Real love is purity, is what it is, and seeing what life is. That's real love. You got to see it too. And what do most people see when as a relationship, as an example, what do they see? They usually see the other person as a body, and they love them, they like them. Oh, he's funny, she's cute, whatever these ideas are, you see. So, and then they put sensation to it, and then they call it love. Okay, but that's not real love. It's just it's an invented, created love. And this is where many people go to because they don't know anything else, because it takes a lot to recognize real love, which is true sincerity and purity, what the is. And again, this is what the sun is demonstrating as a reflection, but that's a place to start as an example. And everybody can figure it out for themselves, but real love is all-encompassing, and there are no restrictions, or there's no emotional attachment, and if you want to add that to it. And so these stories have been created to really get into the sensations of the individual, control them in the surface world, which you see, it's all controlled. I mean, we have atomic weapons, we have HAARP, everything is poisoned, radiated, etc., and people walking around like it's all okay, like there's nothing going on. Everyone should be aware like us and, stepping up and saying, hey, we're not listening to authorities anymore that are ruining our lives, because that's exactly what they're doing. And it's not about rebelling, it's about awareness. And this is what this planet doesn't have in this galaxy. And going to the other planets and whatever and having experiences there, they don't have it either. They have their own la-la lands too, because you know what? They're trading weapons and ships and whatever, because just like Paul said, he subtly said it, this is a warring universe. But this is actually not a universe. It is a realm. It's like a big box. The real universes are endless, and they're sound, light realities that everything is. It's this isness. So yes, these stories that we've come to know, they're just that. They warm you. They vibrate the strings of your emotional body, you might say, and that's fine. It's not that it's a put down or good or bad. It's a choice. If that's all you want, if that's where you want to be, you might say, stuck to, and that's where mainly the tap line comes in. And just like the cathedral burning, and as soon as people start reacting to this in a distorted emotional fashion, which it is all distortion, okay, and feel obligated or guilty or whatever, or that I should contribute, or gee, oh my gosh, they're tap-lined, aren't they? They're controlled, more so tap-line, and they're just escorted into future life.
Yeah, There's also an aspect of this world then, which I want to talk about. We are all aware that death is an illusion. That there's the death penalty in many countries. With Iran recently adding death by stoning as one of its execution methods. Well, we live in a world of what you call human rights. For the U-turn, the framing of pure light, to use its body here until death comes naturally. So what do you say about this curtailment of experience that is premature through execution, Jane, from the universal position? So what can be said about the death penalty that is meted out?
Well, these are choices people make, and you're referring to and I've seen it myself in videos, the stoning of individuals, by the crowd, etc. That's an old so-called biblical idea too, isn't it? Yeah, and so... Yeah, I know. And beheading and all these things for, maybe having an affair with somebody else or, going out on a date or whatever the idea is. That's usually what it is. It's not something to where these women or men are selling guns and blowing up houses like the governments of the world are doing to everybody, but they're just doing they're so-called defying the doctrines and the ideas in the doctrines, like the Ten Commandments or something like that. And so they go through this because, again, people aren't seeing what's going on. Yeah, you come up through these things, but through lifetimes, all of a sudden, that's what I would say is history is about it, and that is a reference to, to make better choices, but still... people are still in the barbaric ages, and this is how they've come up. And, the so-called law enforcement or the governments, they're fine with it because, see, it's crowd control for them. In other words, the people themselves are doing it to themselves, so they're happy with it. So they don't have to make an effort. So in other words, people are staying unaware and really stupid, doing all these things themselves. So it's not about the death penalty or whatever, each individual, each community. So even if a person does something, they have the karma. We know that. And things will come accordingly. And how do we know what the past is, what they did, etc.? So to investigate all this stuff. So, for the most part, the boys just let things be, just like Paul's journey in the tiger's fang, where he was taken back to the past, and he was in like a tavern with Rebazar, and there was a fight that broke out, and Rebazar said, let them be, let them kill each other, don't get involved or you'll be part of it too. So again, people make choices, don't they? And that's what we see in the world, and this is what we're doing. We're making a choice here to share something that makes sense with the whole of life. But the challenge is, and it's not easy, for the person to go from their personal self to recognize that there's more, than what they've known. That's a big challenge. And so the new presentation, again, seems strange, but this is all we can do. So again, it's choices. Each person makes a choice. So it's not that I'm for or against or condemn it or whatever. Again, it has nothing to do with me, just like the cathedral. Somebody made a choice to do that. So that's kind of like, maybe someone was frying chicken in the kitchen and all of a sudden the oil spattered over and created a fire, but it blew up the whole building. I guess that makes sense. So, yeah, people make choices, don't they, Charles? And so, yeah, I see these things going on in the world, so that's why I really adamantly share everything we're doing and suggest others too as they earn their way and learn to recognize this, because it really makes a difference, and get past your personal life. It'll still be there, but you know what? You put it forward in previous lifetimes, and it's brought you back here. There's no la-la land here. It doesn't work. And there is no la-la land through all of creation. Creation is what it is. But when you see it from the is, and you see all of it for what it is, then it can be okay. But to be the effect of it and to continually be restricted by and react to it, then it's a position that really has not much value at all, okay, except for the experiences you've had, and until you can recognize them and compare to the isness life is. Yeah, big difference. So, yeah, what's going on in the world, Charles, is going to go on, and that and a lot worse. And so, yeah, and you see Africa. I would like to do a lot, but I'm restricted here too. I'm held back. We're trying to do some things on many sides, and the real side. But again, just a basic understanding for people, and that is that, you know, we have nothing to do with restrictions. That becomes the difference, you see. And for the most part, most people look to restrictions as the answer or the remedy or whatever you want to call it for their life, and that doesn't work. So again, like the birds, and they fly around and do whatever, and etc. The reality of that, they don't look to restriction. People look to restrictions. This is why they make the choices they do. So once they start to stop looking to restrictions and make sense of their life, well, that's a step, okay? And then eventually decide to recognize the isness. That's huge. But here we are, we're presenting it and giving the hints. Okay, go ahead, thank you.
Okay, Duane, thank you. Yeah, you just mentioned the law of karma, law of cause and effect, which operates in creation, and which should handle things normally. But you know, with all the ruling and the governing that the world experiences, as Paul Tuchel remarked, the world goes bad. And so people have set up themselves to kill others gruesomely in the name of justice. Meanwhile, as you say, everything could have been left to the law of karma to take sway, to decide the place and time and the manner in which the debt will be paid. And I don't know whether with this killing, Duane, with this kind of torture that the people go through, the death penalty, whether it's some sort of absolves them from the crime they committed. Will the law of karma then be in abeyance because they have already paid somehow? I don't know, Duane.
Well, it's really too much to figure out. It's like the air we breathe. I see it, and things are just see it kind of like atoms, going from one point to another, shifting, like the ocean shifts and the waves and comes and goes. And this is how it really is. We simply solidify things according to what we have experienced, what we know, what we agree to. We've solidified things, but it's really a shifting of atoms, etc. So it's like two people talking, and when they're talking, they're breathing each other's air. You might say inhale, exhale, etc. And just like Kevin's experience, where he's in the little ship with the alien, and they're breathing, one's breathing the others, and back and forth, etc. And it's like that. So however it goes, it really doesn't matter. We've set up, it does, but it doesn't. We've set up these ideas about these things, so we've kind of blocked it off into ideas that it supposedly is, but it's more than that. But the bigger picture is, it's kind of like, okay, so you've walked down the earth all your life, and all of a sudden, you just decide to fly. And it's like, you know what, I'm tired of walking around. I'm older, my back hurts, etc. And you know what, I just want to fly. And all of a sudden, you just get up, flap your arms, you fly. All right. That's really what it is. This is what we're presenting, okay? Is you've been through all this, okay? You've been through all this stuff. You tried to figure it out. It's really not about figuring it out. It's just about doing and being, you see? And so now that you get kind of an understand of it, you do something and you be it and you recognize it, you see? It's really that cool is what it is. So all this drudgery that we're going through and been through, we don't need it.